Well, good evening, everybody. Let's just let the audience build up a little bit. Paul, thanks for joining me. I'll probably
My
repeat
pleasure.
myself. It's good to have you, man. This is an emergency one. We didn't plan this, and it's going on my channels. Basically, Tommy's team's been in touch, and they want to make this go absolutely viral. Tommy has once again been harassed in prison by the police. He's been questioned over a post on X. As far as I know, it's a single post. I don't know what the post's about. I don't know what they're trying to say, accuse him of. But all we know is this is the last thing that Tommy needs at the minute. What are your thoughts, Paul?
Well, I mean, it's very early stages, Richard. We don't know exactly, what's going on, but I think we're probably mostly aware of Tommy's posts. I mean, we've seen them over the months. So I've never seen anything myself that you would, think, oh, that could warrant that's a bit dodgy or that's a bit iffy. And I don't think I've missed anything. What it smacks of to me is intimidation and bullying. Intimidation really is the best word that I can think of.
I totally agree, Paul. And to me, I mean, we've got to think about. They know that when Tommy is locked up. Now, guys, when you're looking at this, wherever you are in the world, I want you to think about this. Tommy is locked up 21 hours a day. Now, think about this, for making a film that he based on secret recordings. And I've said this before. How likely is it that someone's going to lie when they don't know that they're actually been recorded? I'd say it's very unlikely. So that's all I'm going to say about the film. But that's what he's in prison for. He's in prison because he made a film. He's a journalist. Journalists make documentaries all the time. And somebody pulled me up last time I did a stream. I said nobody had been in prison for contempt of court. That was a slip of the tongue. What I should have said was no journalists, apart from Tommy Robinson, have been in prison for contempt of court, as far as I know, since the 1940s, right? So, there's law for everybody else, and there's lawfare for Tommy. So I think the reality is what's happening now. Don't know what you think, Paul. They're trying to push him over the edge. When you're locked up for that amount of time, he's a lot of time to think, a lot of time to ruminate, and I think this is disgusting. And I can't prove it, and it's impossible to prove it. But I think the slippery snake of Downing Street, Sharia Starmer's behind this. I really do.
Well,
I don't think there's.
Richard, if this was anyone else, anyone, and I mean anyone, there are 67 million people in the UK. Now, if this was anyone else other than him, can you really believe that the police would be paying a visit to someone that's already serving a pretty hefty sentence for what they've supposed to have done on the back of a Facebook post? The answer to that is no.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
And what is more worrying for me and is even more sinister is the timing of this. It's the 11th of December.
Mm.
Now, it sounds like they're going to be back again, having another word. And when's that going to be? Christmas Eve?
Well, I don't know. I mean, what we know is that they've sent a file to the CPS. That's what we know. We can say that. We know they've sent a file to the CPS. And look, let's get it right, Paul. Anybody can send a file to the CPS. That does not for a minute mean there's a case to answer. Yeah. What it means is we're going to put this lad under as much pressure as possible. And this is what they do. This is what.
Well, the other question, Richard, is who's going to be looking at that file at the CPS?
Well, exactly.
Who?
That's a very, very good question.
And
Paul,
what are their beliefs going to be?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is this going to be without fear and without favour?
Does that exist anymore, Paul? I don't think so.
Well, I'd like to know who's going to be looking at this file. And of course, even if, and I don't think it's going to come to that somehow, please God, but even if there is a further charge, that doesn't mean to say he's going to be found guilty either.
Exactly.
So it's all about intimidation to me. Pressure, intimidation, and trying to push someone over the edge.
Totally. That's exactly what it is. I mean, pressure and intimidation. It's mind games. And look, I mean, somebody's put in the comments there about Tommy doing Bible studies. That's absolutely true. He told me that. You know, I think mentally, spiritually, physically, he's strong. All been well, God willing, I'll go and see him on Sunday. Now, here's the thing about it. Anybody in this group, in the comments, or that's watching this, or that's watching this later, if you're a praying person, pray for Tommy, because he needs help. You can't go through what he's gone through on his own. I mean, we all know how strong Tommy is, how focused he is, how much he's, and especially now he seems a lot more. I don't know what you're thinking, Paul. You've seen him and you met him. He seems a lot more focused now than he was before he went in. To be brutally honest with you, and I think these scumbags want to kick. Yeah,
yeah. I think he was in top form. You know, I think he was actually he seemed relieved that, you know, the last 2 years, 18 months, or whatever it's been, as sort of there's been an answer. You know, there's been a resolution.
Yeah.
And what they're trying to do now, it looks like, is they're trying to push more and more pressure on him because they've seen that this hasn't broken him.
Yep.
So let's see what else we can push your way. Now, at the end of the day, this is, for me, what I would say to a lot of people that might be watching this and that might not be a Tommy supporter. Let's just say that you're anti-Tommy. That's fine. That's your prerogative. If that's your belief, you know, unlike the hard left, I'm not going to spare you and call you this and call you that. I'm going to say, well, that's your right. But this is not about we have to take the name out of this and look at the human side. This really is a human rights issue now. This is becoming the state psychologically, physically, mentally, and through the law, bullying and intimidating someone to the point that it seems they want to push him over the edge.
Totally. Absolutely. I mean, this is what it is. And, you know, I think my gut feeling is, knowing Tommy, when they do this to him, he actually feeds off it and it makes him stronger. I know that sounds crazy. Yes, he's going to be thinking, what are they going to try and stick on me? But if I know Tommy, he's just going to be giving them the middle finger, to be brutally honest with you.
Yeah.
Because that's what he does. And look, here's the thing about it. Every right-thinking politician on the right should be standing with Tommy right now.
Stand up.
I'm not going to name names. We've done this. I'm not going to go down that road anymore, Paul. You know, I mean, that's another thing we maybe talk about quickly before I go. But, you know, to me, you know, I know what I'm focused on. I'm focused on Tommy's movement, Urban Scoop. I'm focused on the pledge, and that's it. I'm not doing the party politics thing anymore. I'm not doing it. So for me, you know, what we've got to do is focus on getting Tommy out and basically putting the maximum amount of pressure we can on the state in whatever means, legally. Obviously, we're not asking anyone to do anything stupid or illegal. But if it means we have events up and down the country in one day, so be it. If it means whatever Tommy wants us to do, we'll basically do on the outside. It's as simple as that, to actually intervene and try and help him and try and support him. But again, I think people watching, like and share this video. We want to get this out there. This is very serious. If this was any other man, I believe he would have broken by now. Without.
And by the way, Richard,
yeah.
Sorry cutting across you there. By the way, for all those journalists out there and for any lefties that think this is funny, and I've seen some messages today from people on the other side who think it's absolutely hilarious. Your turn may come, right? Don't be sitting behind your computer typing away thinking that this is all a jolly, because look, if this can happen to Tommy, it can happen to you. It can happen to anyone. It could happen to me or you, Richard. You know, we all know that we all understand that our heads are above the parapet, and they can make up whatever they want.
Look at this piece of garbage here, Paul. Richard Morton. I'm a lefty and I think it's funny. Well, if the cops kick your door in, son, and drag you away from your family and lock you up for something you've said on social media, well, see if you're laughing then. I don't think you will be. You know, this is silly little boys playing flipping big boys games. You know, Richard Morton, come to the next demo. See what the next demo's like. Come to the next demo, and then you maybe get educated on what it's like. because you'll see a peaceful demonstration with people that love you and love each other and have no animosity to anyone. So you and your little poisonous friends, why don't you just come and observe what we do?
Richard, I actually feel sorry for people like that in many respects because
Well, it's funny.
they
Whenever you
haven't,
said it, he put it up straight away. You know.
yeah, they haven't found the light. They live in their own little worlds. They've got no friends. I mean, look, at the end of the day, like Richard said, why don't you come along, meet some of the people, and find out for yourself?
Well, that's a sincere offer. I'm not saying come along to harass him. I'm saying come along and you might learn something, and you might realise that you're on the wrong side of the fence, and you might come over to the light. So, Richard, whatever your name was, come to our next event and just see what you think of it. See what you think of it. See what you think of the multicultural, multiracial crowd that comes to our events, love each other, support each other, and love this country.
There's a great comment. Get JS up. JS says it's not even about left or right. It's not a left or right issue.
No, it's not. It's a human rights issue.
It's a human rights issue.
Yeah.
Listen, they wouldn't treat a terrorist like this.
Mate, terrorists are running the government in my country.
Shamima Begum, even today in the goddamn press, getting sympathetic copy, right, from journalists. Oh, give her another chance, blah, blah. Listen, everyone deserves another chance apart from Tommy, apparently.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I'm not going to comment on Shamima Begum, but many of those ISIS brides were helping their husbands in very material ways. Their husbands were coming in with blood dripping off their hands from people that they'd murdered and executed. And those ISIS brides were idolizing them, making them a cup of tea and sewing the suicide vests together for them as well. I don't know if you ever saw the comedy sketch that the BBC did. It's one of the last funny things the BBC actually did, where they did the, what was it? ISIS wives of Mosul or something. And I mean, it was... but you can't even. The BBC's deleted that now. You can only get on that on YouTube. But it really summed up what was going on there.
But this is the bottom line. Is Rich? The bottom line is this: is that we are so big, allegedly, in this country about human rights. If someone's being mistreated in a prison somewhere in Outer Mongolia, the foreign secretary will be making a statement about it. This isn't fair. That's not fair. Blah blah blah, etc. etc. But it's okay for the state to do whatever they want to this individual, and they've got to understand that it's not okay.
No, it's not. It's not.
That he has millions of people out there watching his back, that have got his back, that care about him very much, care about his safety, and care about his mental health as well, because that is what worries me. Physically, I believe he's safe, but being locked up 21 hours a day. Just anyone out there, that person that wrote that silly message, I tell you what, son, whoever you are, lock yourself in your house tomorrow for 21 hours on your own and see how you feel, and then come back and tell us and see if you still think it's funny.
There's a guy or a girl, I don't know who it is, someone asking Richard Pauls or anything, write to your MP, write to your local MP, give your MP bucket loads of mail, write to the Home Office, write to the Justice, I can't remember the Justice Secretary's name, write to the Justice Secretary, write to Yvette Cooper, write to Sharia Starmer.
Shamima Mahmood, is it?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I can't remember her name. But anyway, get in touch with these people, let them know how unhappy you are, and do it in bucket loads. And why don't people start? We had that parliamentary petition that got a couple of million people on it. Why don't someone start a parliamentary petition to look at the case of Tommy Robinson and get a judicial review on why he's been treated like he is? There's an idea. Let's get a parliamentary petition going. There's lots of stuff we can do on a civil basis.
A free Tommy Robinson petition would be better, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But I think if someone's going to do that, Richard, I think it needs to come maybe from Urban Scoop, because otherwise absolutely. we could have 3 or 4 different petitions.
That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good point.
So why don't we speak to the guys at Urban Scoop?
When we get off here, Paul, if you could get in touch with them, mate, because I've got to jump on another meeting at 9 o'clock. But
Richard's got to go and have his hair cut.
But I do need a haircut.
Richard, have your ears lowered? It's quicker.
I know. I know a man that's got knives that can do that, but we're not commenting on that. But
Oh, yeah.
right, okay, but no, there's loads we can do. There's loads we can do. And I tell you what, actually, do you know what would be a good idea, Paul? Right? If people actually did what you said, right? All of us locked ourselves away in a room for 21 hours. Don't speak to anyone. Just one day. Just
No
one
phone,
day.
no
No phone,
phone.
no internet,
Oh,
right?
by the way, yeah, no phone, no internet, and you can only watch one of 3 channels,
Mm.
all of which are absolute toilet.
Yeah, yeah. So you'd have to either watch the BBC or read a book. You can read a book, but you lock yourself away for 21 hours. I don't think that'd be a bad use of time for everybody to understand something about what Tommy's going through, you know. So do that sometime over Christmas. Having said that, a lot of people might want to lock themselves away from their family over Christmas, but that's another story. But no, I mean, the bottom line is, look, Tommy is a very resilient character, but that does not mean just because he's resilient and strong doesn't mean that it's okay for this to happen. This is absolutely scandalous, and yeah, we've got to do stuff. And the other thing that you can do is book your tickets for the 1st of February,
Mm.
London, 1st of February. We need a massive turnout for that
The
event.
biggest yet.
It needs to be the biggest yet
And
because
do you know what, Richard? Do you know something? There's no excuses for
no,
this time. There's no excuses for anyone. I mean, it doesn't matter. With all due respect, if you have to take a day off of work and lose a day's pay,
yeah,
even if you have to miss a goddamn family wedding,
yeah,
this is for Tommy.
exactly.
And when you look at what he's sacrificed,
Yeah,
there really are no excuses. None that are gonna, unless it's an illness
yeah,
that you physically can't get out of the house. With all due respect, there's no excuses.
no, no.
Not for me.
There's no excuse. I mean, for this, I think this is such a big issue now. The way they're basically harassing Tommy and pushing him to the limits. You know, um, we've got to really push the boat out on this one, and we've got to make sure that people understand. But think about what's happening. So they've sent that file to the CPS. So he's gone back to his cell. Do you not think he's going to be thinking, are they going to tag another 2 years onto this? You know, we don't know what they're even trying to charge him with. You know, because we don't know. We literally don't know what's going on. But we know enough to know that we've got to get this message everywhere. So guys, share this video everywhere, like it, share it, get it absolutely viral, because we need people standing up for Tommy. And the best thing that we can do at the minute is just shower the MPs and the ministers with as many emails as we can get into them, saying what is going on with Tommy Robinson. Why he's very simple question. Why has Tommy Robinson been harassed by whatever police force it is? I'm guessing it's the Met. Why has Tom Robinson been harassed by the police in prison? You know, and he's got that other ridiculous terrorist charge as well, because he wouldn't give the code to his phone up. I mean, and the police even admitted they knew he wasn't a terrorist, but they knew they could get him and get the information from his phone, because what they want is they want all the correspondence, everything that's been said between me and Tommy, between you and Tommy, between everyone that's communicating with him, because they want to build a picture of what the movement's about. Now, that to me is an absolute liberty that they're even taking on that, because we're not terrorists.
No.
You know, I've never been convicted of a criminal offence in my life, let alone a terrorist offence. You haven't either, Paul. You know,
Blimey, mate, I can't even terrorise my own bloody family pet in here.
exactly.
You know, so it's all nonsense.
It's absolutely disgusting.
But I just noticed a great comment there. Let me just see if I can find it. It's, yeah, Bernadette Leach. Tommy has lost everything for us lot. We owe him big time.
Yeah,
Love to you guys.
absolutely right. Absolutely right. So I think the best thing we can do at the minute is make plans for the 1st of February. I really do. And I tell you what, I tell you the other thing, and I said this the other day, and I'm not ashamed of putting a pitch out there for Urban Scoop, for people to support Urban Scoop. Go across to the Urban Scoop channel, hit the support button, and if you can afford to, I know it's coming up to Christmas, if you can afford to, send some money to Urban Scoop, because there's a team there that are basically working tirelessly on Tommy's behalf. They're still making films. They're still making documentaries. The costs that the company had before Tommy went in prison are still exactly the same. So if you want to support Tommy, get across to Urban Scoop and basically support Urban Scoop financially if you can afford to, because they're going to be paying for a massive event in London again in January. Now the last one, we're talking tens of thousands of pounds. I don't even know what the bill was for the last one. The one in Trafalgar Square, I think, was over 100K.
Yeah, it was over 100, wasn't it?
I
Yeah.
mean, it was like going to a concert, Paul, wasn't it? I mean, the sound quality, the screens, it was superb. So, if you can, please get across and support Urban Scoop, because they definitely need help at the minute. Because, I know for a fact that they've been. I probably shouldn't say it, but they've been struggling because of Tommy being away.
Here's something else, Richard, that I think we can do when we ask what we can do for Tommy. Right? There's someone's just left a message here. Let me just see if I can find it again. But basically, it was saying that Tommy has asked for peaceful protest. Something else that we can do, not just for Tommy, but for everyone, is to show these wankers, and I'm sorry to use bad language, but it's to show these absolute wankers that keep going after him that we are not the devils that they make us out to be.
Yeah.
Let's behave like they don't want us to. They want us to misbehave. Well, it ain't going to happen anymore. Those days are over. You've seen the crowds and the quality of people that now attend our celebration days, our demo days, whatever you want to call them. And we have brought a whole new demographic to this movement. And we will continue to attract a whole new demographic, the right demographic of good, solid, proud, beautiful British people that are going to come along peacefully within the law, and they're going to have their say. And there's nothing the government can do about that.
Yep.
So that's something else that we can do for Tommy. Keep growing the movement and keep yourselves safe and on the right side of the law.
Totally agree with that, Paul. I mean, the thing about it is, we have done, the last events we've done have actually been so positive and peaceful. I think there's more trouble at the farmers' demos than there is at our demos, Paul. You know what I mean? I mean, we and it's not that we're, being goody-goody. It's the fact that we're playing the game the way the game should be played, because they want it to kick off. When I say that, I'm not about the police officers on the ground that are dealing with us, because they're all right. They're just doing a job.
The journalists and all the media. I won't even tell you what I think of them, and they're the ones that want the optics.
The senior police officers that despise us, despise our message, because they are lefty scumbags. I'm not talking about the ones we deal with. I'm talking about the top people. The top people. It's funny, when I'm on these calls with the coppers and I start slagging off their bosses, you can just see the little smile in the corner of their mouths and their eyes light up when I'm slagging off these lefty scumbags that are running the Metropolitan Police, because they know as well. They know, Paul. Do you know what I mean? And don't get me wrong, it's not an excuse. I mean, those cops that have questioned Tommy today, they need to go this Christmas and hang their heads in shame. I said this before. If you're watching this and you're a police officer that's been grilling Tommy about a post on X, shame on you. When you think about the muggings, I mean, there's one of the women in our movement. She was at a meeting tonight in London because kids coming out of school in central London are getting mugged for their phones, and it's been down to the mums to get together and call a meeting to do something about this, right?
Yeah.
That shouldn't be down to the mums. That should be down to the police. But no, the police can't go and deal with the muggers that are stealing phones off little kids. What the police are doing is going and questioning an advocate for freedom of speech, one of the best journalists in the country, and the bravest man in the country. So the police are doing that. So if you're one of the police officers that's gone and questioned Tommy, shame on you. Hang your head in shame. You're a disgrace to the uniform if you're wearing a uniform.
Don Keefe in the chat there. Evening, Don. Tommy has been a key factor. He's keeping the peace, although the media wants people to believe the opposite. Absolutely bang on.
Well, absolutely. I mean, do you know what we should do, Paul? We should try and find the videos, because I counted 6 videos that Tommy made after those riots telling people to calm down. Now, I don't know what this is about. I don't think it's about that, Paul. There's just something about me. I don't think it's about the riots for some reason. Like I say, I genuinely don't know, but that's the kind of...
Richard, I want Here's a thing. Here's a thing, Richard. I mean, we've known each other now for best part of a year, right?
Yep.
And I think you can. I think you've got to know me well enough by now, right?
Yep.
We've been in plenty of situations together. We've had lots of time together.
Yep.
Have I ever, or have we ever once, and I will vouch for you and you can vouch
Yep.
for me, not once in any conversation, that the dozens and dozens of hours we spent in private conversations, have I ever heard you ever suggest anything that would be illegal, that would cross the line. In fact, everything you say has been completely the opposite. It's always about keeping the peace. And I can say exactly the same for Tommy.
Absolutely. I mean, when I started doing this, Paul, in 2017, one of the reasons I got involved in this, I saw what happened in Northern Ireland, and I looked across the water and I could see people getting so angry, right? And I thought, well, I know where that goes if this goes wrong. And all that happens is it ends up in prison cells and body bags, right? That's and let's get it right. You know, that's the potential if this goes wrong, Paul. If this goes wrong. And what I've always done and what you've always done as long as I've known you as well is basically try to de-escalate everything and tell people there's a better way. And that's why I think the pledge is so important, Paul, because at the end of the day, the pledge is something that's going to hold everybody to account. It's going to hold the people that sign it to account.
Yep.
Because you can't sign the pledge and then go and, do something horrendous to somebody, and beat somebody up or do some sort of violent act. And also, if you're a politician, you can't sign the pledge and be a racist or be a white supremacist or, want some horrendous policy that would cause problems for people in our country. And at the same time, you can't be a communist, you can't be a leftist, you can't be a globalist, and you can't be an Islamist. It is the way to bring everybody together. And that's why the pledge is so important. And Tommy is fully backing the pledge. Tommy's team are fully backing the pledge. So I just think it's it's vitally.
It's very frustrating. It's so frustrating, Richard. But I just want everyone that watches my channel and yours, but I want everyone to know from the bottom of my heart, and I mean, I give you my word, right?
Yep.
If I ever spot anything sinister in our movement, I'm out.
Yep. Yep.
Gone.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because I am not a person that is full of hate. I am not full of hate for anyone.
Yeah.
I'm full of love for our country and for all things that are good.
Yeah.
And this is why people I'm telling you now, if I stand with Tommy, it's because I see a good person. If I see a bad person, I walk away.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I make that promise to everyone. It's from the bottom of my heart, and that includes you, Richard, as well.
Yep.
If you, as friendly as we are, if you suddenly said to me, Paul, I think this, that, and the other, and I thought, bloody Richard, that's over the mark, I'm out.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too.
And I'd expect the same from you.
Yep. And I mean, at the end of the day, we've chased people from the movement that are dangerous, that are far right, that are basically genuinely far right, the goose stepping lunatic ones, And this is why I get so frustrated with the situation we're dealing with. I'm not going to even mention the party's name because I want to try and stay away from that. But I'm very frustrated that people that are in these elite parties don't see what we've done to fight against the genuinely bad people that are out there trying to do harm and try to stir up racial hatred on all sides. We fought against all of the people because let's get it right, Paul. The communists are stirring up racial hatred with their identity politics.
Of course they are.
They're doing exactly the same, try to separate people down into groups, whether it's on sexual orientation, whether it's on race, whatever it is, and making these hierarchies and all the rest of it, and being racist against white people. That what you've got is middle class communist white people. Would you call it racism? Certainly been bigoted against white working class people.
Do you know what I think it is, Richard? I think they want to see trouble. That's what they want. They want trouble.
Of course they do.
And we are fighting for, believe it or not, anyone watching this now that thinks they're on the other side, you may be wrong because we're fighting for unity.
Yeah.
That's what we're fighting for.
Absolutely.
And we're fighting for everything that is right. We want to protect your children. We want to protect your family, your
Totally.
children. Doesn't matter where you come from or what you do or what you look like. We want to protect your family and your
Yeah.
rights to freedom and free speech and a good, solid future for all your family.
That's it, Paul. That's all we want. We don't want anything else. We just want everything to work, and we want the whole country to be living in a cohesive way where everybody respects each other and people can basically live as they want as long as you're not. Isn't that the thing? People living as they want as long as they're not harming the neighbor. It's a basic Christian principle. Love your neighbor, love your enemy. That's
What a
that's
great, Richard,
Christianity 101.
great comment I'm sorry, mate. I know it's
Yeah.
your show. I'm so used to
No. Where is it, mate?
Robin Foreman. Uniting the races with truth instead of dividing us with lies. Robin,
Absolutely.
brilliant.
Absolutely. And that's the whole point. That's the whole point.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And this and what they're doing to Tommy is causing more and more and more division.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They're feeding into the bogeyman narrative with one community.
Yeah.
And they're winding up another community because we know what they're up to. We know what's going on. Just leave the man alone, for God's sake.
Exactly. Well, guys, listen, over 2,000 people watching the stream. Thanks for tuning in. It's just to give you an update. Pray for Tommy. Lobby your MPs for Tommy. Book your tickets for the book your tickets for the first of February, not the 20th of February.
And I will be putting on a coach, Richard, out of my own pocket to bring people down. I'm not quite sure from what area yet.
Yep.
There's one or two areas in my mind that have been suggested to me, but I'm going to book a 56-seater coach that will be completely free. They will pick up 56 patriots from one area or wherever it's going to be. They'll bus them down to London for the day, and at the end of the day, they'll take them home again, and it won't cost you a goddamn penny.
Brilliant.
That's for nothing. And let's get the hashtag Free Tommy going again.
Get the hashtag Free Tommy going again. And again, somebody put it in the comments. If everybody that's in those towns and cities up north, get to your coach companies, get to the small minibuses, get as many vehicles on the road, fill them to the gills, and get down here. Because we never trust the trains when we're doing our events. It's very strange how there's always engineering works on the line when we're doing our events. Let's get down there. Let's have a fantastic day. Obviously, everybody watching this, have a great Christmas. We'll be coming back before that, but we've got to get this right. We've got to get this right, and we've got to get Tommy out of that horrible situation that he's in. And the only way we can do it is with maximum pressure. And if we get a couple of 100,000 in London on the 1st of February, I'm telling you now, Sharia Keir will have to sit up and listen without a shadow of a doubt.
I want to know, has there ever been a Prime Minister, Richard, with more nicknames than two-tier Keir, three-year
They just keep coming to me.
No idea, Keir. Do you know the one
no
that
idea.
No idea, Keir. You know the one that... I can't tell you. The one I've not been able to get out of my head today is not actually Keir. It's Rachel from Accounts.
Rachel from Accounts. Yeah, I mean she is isn't she? She's like a bad librarian.
Oh dear, Rachel from Accounts. Yeah, they tickle me. I mean, look, listen, I was watching them all on.
Do you know the good thing is it shows that without any talent, without any skill, and without any ability, you can rise to the highest office in the land.
Do you know what, Richard? I've always bet, listen, I know my place in life, right? I'm not one of these people that thinks above his station. And I've always said, me, stand for Parliament, don't be silly. People like me don't. Do you know what? I reckon I'm ready to be PM after watching that lot.
Well, I think so, mate. I think so. Just put me as Home Secretary and we'll see what happens.
Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. Should we leave everyone on a high then, Rich?
I think we'll leave everyone on a high. Come on, Paul. What are you going to say?
No, I was just saying, let's leave everyone with a smile. But look, listen, on a more serious note, before we go, don't forget, as we go to bed tonight with our loved ones and our pets, and, some of you will have the dog at the bottom of the bed or whatever, Tommy's on his own in a cell with no one to speak to. And we shouldn't forget that.
Absolutely. And like I say, if you're praying, people pray for Tommy. And, we just need to get Tommy out. We need to see Tommy free. And that's all there is to it. And, You know, this has gone on too long, this harassment of this man, and it's got to come to an end.
I've just spied a comment. Alan Fox, Richard looks trashed. Get some rest, brother.
Well, there's one thing. I don't look as bad as Nigel Farage looks at the minute, so that's all I'm going to say on that. I'm not going to say anymore. Old Nigel's looking like he's had a few too many late nights at the minute as well. Guys, listen, thanks for watching. Stay positive.
All the best, everyone. Don't forget to hit the like button for Rich.
Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and get this video everywhere, because we've got to start making plans for the first of. I was going to say making plans for Nigel. We've got to start making plans for the 1st of February, and we'll see you all probably tomorrow night, Paul, on your channel.
Yeah, probably be back tomorrow night on ours.
Guys, and thanks everybody for tuning in. See you soon. All the best.
See you
God
later,
bless. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Cheers, Paul. See you, mate.